Good morning, here we are again. More makeup. Again, cup of coffee. Not that it should be turning into a coffee review, but I think it's Morrison's Own. I'm sure it's probably just all manufactured at the centre of the earth and piped up like a Simpsons episode. But number 5, Morrison's number 5, their own brand. Right, this particular video is on eyebrows, but just going to go through a very abridged few details before we get there, because otherwise it loses the context of how I've got there to create the eyebrow shape that I want. So going back to the basics of moderate contouring with foundation, so we have the Kryolan TV White. Now you can see my own eyebrows, very fine, they've been tattooed, but I'm going to use the TV White to block out half of that eyebrow, so you can see that already the arch up is going up and then the rest lost, because we're going to do a semi drag queen affair. Again, blocking so now the bulk of the highlighter white is down, just adding and refining a little bit, smoothing a little bit as well with a brush. There we go. Maybe a bit more in there. Just depends how high you want to go. Again, it's all it's all personal preference. Not too many rights and wrongs. It's just like, you know, if you do your makeup, I said this before, you sit there and you feel fabulous, that's your fabulous, and nobody else can take that away from you. Contour in the cheeks. So the important bit here is contouring part of the brow, temple area above where you're going to do your eyebrows. So you're creating a differential in the shading grade between the application of your eyebrow and the base of your foundation, so you get a more distinctive appearance. Now just a bit of 5W. 12W was used on the dark contouring tone. There we go. So, like I said, this is the sections here that are abridged to lead to the eyebrow application. So I'm not going to bore you with what I've already done before in a previous video. So now I'm just going to blend, powder, and move on to the next section. See you in a moment. Okay, so foundation done. Still not quite working up. So as you can see, mild contouring, you know, not overly harsh contouring, but you know, still reasonable. So going back to the eyebrows again. So you've done the contouring, blocked out, still visible a little bit, but you've blocked out top edge of the eyebrow. You've got the dark tone over the top. So now you're prepared to take the next stage of our eyebrow development. So what we've got here is the Kryolan Aqua White. Drop the makeup sponge. One moment. There we go. Top tip, have lots of different makeup brushes for all the different jobs that you do. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brushes I use for white tone powder and aqua whites. This particular brush for the aqua white, I just don't mix it up. Things go gooey, colours go wrong, just don't do it. So get yourself a nice brush set. Sometimes buy 2 brush sets and just mix them up and get a good combination. Some of these brushes I've probably had for 20 years, but they're good brushes and they're hanging in beautifully. So brilliant. So now, as you can probably imagine, you can see where I'm going to go with this. It's a regular glam night out. This is probably as far as I go. Again, just using the makeup sponge to blend out the harsh edge. Now this is the trick. How high do you want your eyebrows to go? There we go. So when you come to draw your eyebrow, you're obviously using the lower part of your eyebrow, and you're going to follow that line that you've created with the highlighter white against the dark tone contouring that you've done in between. So you're creating a barrier between that and that with your eyebrow. And where you draw that line is up to you, depending on what you're doing with it. You've got the drag queens, which I so admire some of their makeup. Yeah, some of them are drawing their eyebrows halfway up there. Foreheads almost to, it's an ultra accentuation. The image. Back to this highlight white. As I said on a previous video, this stuff dries pretty quick. So as soon as you've laid it down, blend it out. Good so far. Aqua white can take a little bit of time to appreciate. Overwork it. If you overwork it, you'll just start taking more off than you're putting on. So you might have to wait a few seconds for it to dry out. I should probably notice there I just wiped some of the excess off the edge of my brush. So I'm feathering out the edges, making them a little bit, making a smoother line. Okay, if you wanted to, you can see where this white is. You could extend it all the way and make something really distinctive. You could make it different colours. You know, you've probably seen pictures of people in red, blues, and whatever they please. You know, this is where it's all going. There we go. Lovely. While it's still damp. So I've got the iridescent white. Again, separate brush. Don't use the same brush. What you'll find is that you'll probably end up taking some of the aqua white off, and then you'll just sit there screaming in the mirror. Just copious amounts of the iridescent white over the aqua white. Acts like a setting powder, smooths it out, makes it wonderfully fabulous. Okay, here we are. As you can see, a little bit development on my makeup. So just a very inexpensive brown pencil just to get the shaping going. As you can see, with the highlighter white, my own eyebrow there and the contouring, the line is pretty obvious now that you're going to follow. So it's up to you how you're going to do it. You got are you going to do a Marley and Dietrich type eyebrow where it's incredibly thin? Are you going to do it angled? Are you going to do a half moon, thick, or cross-hatched? Again, it's entirely your choice. A lot of it comes down to what you think suits your face shape the most. Just following the general line. There we go. Now this is where I use my expensive Krylon pencil. That's why I use a cheap one initially, just to get things started and then start filling in. think we need a bit of a sharpen. Oh yeah, buy a decent sharpener. Again, just not worth it. The cheap ones just wreck your pencils. That's starting to come along now. The question is, don't overly worry or overwork the first eyebrow that you do, because you've got to do the other eyebrow. And I think everybody's the same. You go to do the second eyebrow, you're working away. They're never quite the same. You end up switching back and forward, trying to match them up. So just get a 90% rough cut with the first eyebrow. Go to the second one and slowly work them up so they're matching. But that's about the best that you should do. Don't go full on that first eyebrow. Get it absolutely perfect, and then when you get the second one wrong in comparison to the first one, you sit there screaming away. There we go. And now right, so the basic outline is done. Now, I know that I'm not going to leave it there. I will come back after the second one. I just don't want to, have an abridged version. Just don't want to make this overly long. I'll start the second one. I'll come back in a second and show you as I refine this between the two. So it's looking okay so far. Okay, so the eyebrows finished for today. Sometimes it's quite difficult for myself. I've got an ancient scar down the centre of my forehead. So I have to sometimes offset my eyebrows to create an illusion that they're even. So as you can see, once I'd drawn the right side, I had to go back and forward a little bit to even it up, but the premise is the same. What you can do if you're a beginner is you can get these stencils. They normally come in a sort of pack of 3. Pretty much obvious. You just hold the stencil to your brow, fill in the gaps. I think you're 6 years old again at school, but eventually you drop these stencils because you become proficient at doing your own eyebrows and the different shapes that you want. But I would certainly recommend these for beginners. you know, quite a good handy tool. So I might show one of those later on. So enjoy your day.